What's good, YouTube, man? I saw Baby Keem drop like an album. So I've been listening to it. I think it's fire. And I'm like, I think I can make something along those lines. So today I have a sample that I feel like I can hear it being used on Baby Keem's Casino. I wanted to break it down. I have like five vocals. I'm stacking most of them. It's like a choir kind of situation. We're working at 130 BPM. And then the first thing that I have is the vocals, and then these are my vocals. So I'll play with and without the effects. So without. And then the second vocal. Now, that sounds horrible. But I wasn't like too worried with it sounding like that because I know I'm going to stack a bunch of them. So you're not gonna easily detect that I was messing up a lot. And then I have another vocal. Off key and everything. Crazy. And then another one.
Mi amor, mi amor.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna play them all together, but this time with effects. So I have all of them going on to channel 9, and then I have Pro Q3 cutting the lows because I'm staking a bunch of them and it creates this low end that I don't like. And then I'm cutting at like 220 hertz. I'm also doing like a minor cut here at 400 and then 1300. And then I'm boosting because I wanted that highness, that crispiness. Followed by the Pro R Fab filter. I have the drum studio preset on here. I found it on like the small room. And yeah, I only have like the EQ and reverb, and already it sounds like this. Now I did end up pitching everything down one semitone. So a moment ago it was before that, but now you're gonna hear the whole sample pitched one semitone down because that's the final sample as a whole. The next thing I'm like, I already hear a violin. I was already having like ideas, hearing like a violin in my head. So I'm like, I pulled up the E pile. I always use this violin, by the way. I was building this melody while the vocals were playing. And then again, I was just plugging in these notes, going off of by ear, what felt nice, what didn't feel good, etc. And this is what the violin sounds like alone. One thing I like about this violin is usually I'd create like a volume automation to like violins and strings, but as you can tell with the Lewis E pile, which is for free by the way because I got the light version of it, it has that kind of like vibrato to it, that up and down kind of movement to it. So there's no need for me to create like a volume automation underneath it. That's why I like it. Then moving on to the next thing, which in this case I used the piano tech with the violin. I have on cymatics origin, and then I have on retro tape, and then I got on parametric EQ to boost a bit of the highs, and that's the violin. And then now with the piano tape echo, I got on parametric EQ to cut the lows, and then I have on rose beat underneath. At first, I was playing both of them, but they are separate. You have the upper melody and then the bass, which sounds like this. It only follows like what, two notes, three. First section, I'm gonna play it, and this is what it sounds like. Now moving on to the second section, I only ended up using one vocal from the choir, and then I used another vocal here. So I'm not using like actual words. Well, it's the same thing, which is the Q3, the Pro R, and I have an extra compressor working on the vocal. And then I centered it, made it more mono. I have some extra vocals that are coming in. So, and then for this section, that's it. And then, oh, and then I have on Ever Motion, and I have on this one note. So I have that going on, and then all together, this is what the second section sounds like. And then going into the third section, I have on Labs piano, and then I'm doing this kind of like a transitional pattern into the third section, which sounds like this. And then I have these extra notes coming in that play as the beginning part of the third section. And altogether, it sounds like this. And then, sorry about that. And then I have the bass key coming in again on the third section. And then I have all the other vocals come back. And for the final part now, I'm going back to using one vocal from the choir. I have on the strings, I mean the violin, and then I have these pockets of vocals, and then I got the ever motion, the one note kind of going on with it. I was immediately inspired to like come up with something immediately when I heard the album. It's a fire album. I like it. And yeah, man, I think this is something that you would hear on like a casino or Baby Keem kind of beat. You just have to add like crazy drums to this, and it'll go nuts. But yeah, with that being said, appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the next video.